Hey, how's it going, guys? This is part two of this video, and I want to really tell you guys what I think of what DC is going on with the whole Marvel of the movie industry, and I want to give you guys my take on what I think. And they're doing a really horrible job right now, and the number one thing I want to tell you is that what I think that DC should have done, and I'm not impressed, and I'm not really happy about it. I'm totally hating it. Like, I'm hating what DC is doing and what DC is going to do now, and they're not. For me, I don't think they're thinking straight. Um, so, on how I got to this idea is me and my friend were here in my room, and we're just talking to one another, and he asked me the question of, what if you were the guy who made the shots of what the DC movie industry would have or should have done? If I were to go back in time and tell them that, this is the way you should do things, and, how do you keep up with what Marvel's accomplished? And what Marvel's accomplished now is a huge, huge payoff. And all their movies, not just like the whole content of within their comics or animated films, but their movies, just the movies alone, and how much they've done to bring like a whole team together for the Avengers. The huge thing that was missing of what I think is, when it came to the Avengers release, where was the Justice League? I mean, that was the huge thing that was missing. Um, and I really hated it. DC was missing the action of what Marvel did. And this is what I'm going to tell you of what I think should have went down. Brian, and actually, yeah, we'll go back to, say, one of the DC movies, which I think did a great job, but say 95% of people hated it. I'm probably one of the 5% of people who actually did like it. And I'll go back to the movie Superman Returns. I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, or however, doesn't matter. It's good to have feedback. You just tell me in the comments below of what you think about this video, and I'm going to tell you right now. Superman Returns for me was a good movie. And Bryan Singer's idea for that movie is that he wanted to pay tribute to what Christopher Reeve and what Richard Donner was going for. Is that there is a man that can't fly. That was the thing about Superman, is that there is a man can't fly. That was the biggest thing about Superman, and that's what I got from Superman Returns when I watched it, is that I actually believed in that. And when the movie was released, I think in 2006, movie released, and then say months after that, when DVDs came out and when the Blu-ray came out, I remember reading an article saying that Bryan Singer wanted to bring in brand new villains, but not brand new villains of like different types, but brand new villains in the type that the comics have created, like Brainiac and Darkseid. Those were the two villains I wanted to see, and were like the biggest of all villains of Superman to be really adapted to a movie. That's what Man of Steel should have been, and it would have been if Bryan Singer was still a director. His plan was that he wanted to bring in Brainiac, or his plan was to bring in Darkseid, the whole apocalypse planet thing. They could have done that, but I think DC was too, at the time, they're just too arrogant. They're like, no, we want something more realistic. So they restarted the whole Batman movies. That's great and everything, because, Batman's, he's bad and he's brooding type. He's the darker of Superman, because, they're kind of like a yin-yang. in that sense that, you know, Superman's the lighter side and, you know, Batman's the darker side. But what they failed to attempt is what Man of Steel is should have been. He's not supposed to be a dark character. They thought that, you know, making the Batman movies that, you know, that's the new thing. Dark is the new thing, and dark is shouldn't actually, yeah, it shouldn't be the new thing. It was a really bad idea. They wanted to make Superman darker. In the Superman universe now, in terms of Man of Steel, Kryptonite doesn't exist. Zack Snyder clearly said that Kryptonite won't be in the movies. Movies, as in, that was Superman's weakness. It was Kryptonite, and now that you can't have Kryptonite, and you can't, they won't have Superman have a weakness. What the hell? I mean, that could have been the thing that, you know, Batman fans are going on about. They're like, oh yeah, no, Batman can kill Superman because he's got kryptonite. It's not gonna happen now because there's no weakness for Superman. He's too an all-powerful being of God. He's basically a god now, and it's a really horrible choice, and it's like really bad. It's pretty brutal, and I don't like it at all. And the thing I want to mention is that in the Superman Returns movie, they wanted to, I'm guessing for Bryan Singer's vision is that he wanted to see on, let's bring in Superman back to Earth, but, you know, in terms of the love relationship with him and Lois Lane, you know, he wanted to show on how he gets her back, you know, not just as Superman, but as Clark Kent. And, because, you know, in the movie, he was gone for, I don't know how many years, and the Earth is different now, you know, in terms of war, and corruption, and riots, and all that stuff. And by the time he comes back, he's back to doing the right thing. He's actually protecting people, as opposed to the Man of Steel movie we know now, which he's destroying the entire city of Metropolis, which I have another idea for, and I will tell you later in this video. Hopefully it's not too long. And in the order they should have done it was, say, the Man of Steel of what Bryan Singer's vision should have done, or should have been done. That movie should have came out, and then, say, the Christopher Nolan films would come out right after that. And the huge thing that I wanted after those movies would have been Wonder Woman, because that was the thing that got female audiences to go to a movie, not just another chick flick of, like, you know, love romance and like comedy and stuff. It would be the pinnacle of female powering and, you know, being strong. Wonder Woman action movie with story, and they could have done that, you know, but they didn't. They went with a completely different route. You know, they went with Green Lantern instead, and I think that was a horrible choice. It should be Superman, and then Batman, and then Wonder Woman, and then Flash, and then Green Lantern, or even say Green Lantern comes first and then Flash comes out. But it should have been Wonder Woman, and that's what I think. The actress who's gonna play as the new Wonder Woman now is Gal Gadot. She played Giselle in the Fast and Furious movies, and she's actually really good in that. She's very powerful as a character. She's beautiful, she's sexy, and she's got like a subtle feel to her when you look at, you know, how she plays the character. And I can kind of see the Wonder Woman inside her. Like, she's very strong and she's very proud of where she came from, being an Amazon, and, you know, all that stuff. And I'm hoping right after that it would have been the Green Lantern movie, but have a different actor to play Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds actually should have played, you know, Barry Allen instead, or, you know, Wally West for the Flash movies. You know, Green Lantern should have came first. And I think, in terms of, you know, directing abilities, it should have been Zack Snyder to be part of the Green Lantern universe instead of the Superman movies, which I think is because I see Zack Snyder as a visually dynamic as a director. He knows, like he has an imaginative like vision of, his movies of like 300 and like Watchmen. He has a lot of talent when it comes to that, and I think he could have done really well in as a director of Green Lantern. I think he would have done really well in that, like crazy. And that was the thing that was missing in the Green Lantern movie, is that there wasn't enough imagination for Hal Jordan. I mean, everything was very Earth-like, like the weapons and the jets and the, like a tank or like a gun or something, like swords. Probably the most imaginative thing of Green Lantern was the whole Hot Wheels thing. I mean, the helicopter turning into a car and it's going around like the people and protecting the people. And they should have done that. But the real thing that Marvel did that DC is not doing, which Marvel is totally kicking ass of DC right now in terms of the movie industry, is that their cameo appearances. Not just like, say, Avengers, because Avengers has all the characters, but cameo appearances in terms of the end of the movie. Say like the end of the credits. That was the thing that, say Dark Knight Rises was missing. Say at the end of the credits we see, Bruce Wayne. He's at a, say airport going to Metropolis, and he sees Clark Kent in the crowd or something. And he's like, oh yeah, introduces to Lois Lane. They could have been a cameo appearance, but they did decide not to do that. Or even, say, right now for the Man of Steel movies, they could have had, Bruce Wayne come by to Metropolis for a meeting or something. Clark Kent or Lois Lane could have been there and be like, oh yeah, we're part of the Daily Planet and we want to interview Bruce Wayne. They could have done that too, but they didn't do that. But now that, there's a new Man of Steel sequel called Superman vs. Batman, or Batman vs. Superman, they're supposed to bring in, like Wonder Woman, and they're supposed to bring in Flash. I mean, it's too erratic behavior of bringing these characters together. It's too soon, I think, for me anyway. It's too soon, and I don't know what the DC guys are thinking, but it's not a good idea. They're thinking it's a good idea, but it's not gonna work, and I'm not convinced that DC is ever gonna do a good job of, the movies, and this is the biggest thing that is very, very concerning me. And yeah, so I'll end this right now because it's very long, and there will be a part 3, be right after this, and I hope you guys check it out. Let me know what you guys think on the comments below. Subscribe to my page if you like this video, and if you like talking about DC and Marvel, let me know. And alright, see you guys later, and for the next video.